Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. I'm hoping you guys are all having a fantastic day. So as you can tell by the title, we'll be talking about a very large winter storm that will be occurring across the United States. This will be leaving impacts anywhere from severe weather, very heavy snow, very heavy rain, and it will be affecting coast-to-coast areas in between, southern Canada. All of the pretty much areas that could be impacted will be impacted by this system. Again, it's not going to be the biggest system of the season that we've seen, but it's definitely going to be one that's going to leave a mark on some areas, and it's going to be pretty notable in its own sense. I do want to say today's video is going to be shorter. I recently just started an internship, so I have a lot less, let's say a lot less time, and that's why I wanted to say that unless there's a bigger system like this one, I probably won't be recording as many videos as I used to because of that. However, obviously, I still will be recording videos, so I just wanted to mention that. And let's start talking about this. Let's divide this into regions. Obviously, if you remember or you're new, I divide the United States and Southern Canada into their regions, so skip ahead to your region by using the scroll bar or by clicking on the chapter in a link in it, or in like the little numbers next to your region in the description box below. Alright, so starting off with the Northwest, again, you guys aren't going to be as clearly impacted just by one singular storm. It's going to be multiple, right? The one that is going to be swinging in, that kind of is going to be the one that is notable across the Central and Eastern United States, is the one that's going to be moving in to the United States, into California, really tomorrow during the early morning hours. Now, notice that right now there already is precipitation across Idaho, Washington, Oregon, and this will continue even beyond this big system that's going to be occurring that the video is titled about, because that is right here, that big system. So you can see it's not even that big compared to some of the other ones you guys are seeing. So for the Northwest, the main news story is just tons of precipitation, storm after storm, maybe a little bit of a drier pattern for the areas that aren't directly near the coast for, say, the later part of this week. But then you can see Saturday and Sunday, the precipitation returns in pretty much full vigor, and you can see that we see precipitation hitting Idaho, Nevada, well inland into Utah, Wyoming, and this continues well into the second and third week of January. And as far as the GFS model goes, you can see 300 hours out, it still shows precipitation wave after wave hitting British Columbia. Again, you know, areas that are really far east, like eastern Montana, eastern Wyoming, may get kind of the worst, I guess, saved from that. But my goodness, some of these precipitation amounts that have already occurred, obviously there's a state of emergency in California, and look, the rainfall amounts aren't going to let up. There's just going to be more and more and more rain. Now, obviously not all of this will fall as rain. You can see that there will be good chunks of the Northwest that are going to be seeing extremely heavy snowfall amounts. Areas like the Bitterroots, potentially multiple feet, the Wasatch right there, the Cascades of Washington, Oregon, many feet of snow to British Columbia. Notice though, Montana, especially eastern areas of Montana, eastern Wyoming, northeastern Wyoming, you guys may get missed out. Again, don't get too caught up with these exact estimates, as this is just one model run, the GFS. But they definitely will not be as heavy as they will be across, you know, Washington, Oregon, and Idaho, where these amounts are literally going to be reaching potentially historic amounts, especially during a La Nina year. You're looking at the European model, which is, I guess, the second best model, or first best model, depending on which one you favor. You can see it also through 240 hours, so even less than what this one takes us through, which is closer to 15 days. This is closer to 10 days. You can see some of these impacts are, I mean, again, some of these rainfall amounts are nothing shy of incredible. On top of the stuff that has already fallen, you know, this is going to really add up, and you can see we have many inches of snow. So that is definitely the news story for you guys across the Northwest. The Southwestern United States. So let's move on and start talking about you guys. Again, tons of activity. This is an area that's been absolutely clobbered, tons of snow, and again, the system that we're talking about individually that will be occurring across the eastern United States is going to be moving in tomorrow, you can see. But again, you guys already have been dealing with precipitation today. Tomorrow, again, is going to be that system we're talking about, but that's not going to stop it for you guys. Notice it tears through Nevada, Utah, Colorado, Wyoming, and it moves out of here by Thursday. But you can see Thursday, Friday, Saturday, there's more precipitation, especially into California, but then spreading into Arizona, New Mexico, and into the next week, more and more precipitation. So long-range message for you guys is just more increased precipitation, more large systems. So on top of the rain that some areas have already seen, I mean, there could be areas that get another foot and a half of rainfall across potentially the northern areas of California here. The Sierra Nevada, obviously that would be falling mainly in the form of snow. So I want to show you the snowfall amounts. Yeah, they're going to be legendary. You can see this model showing 172 inches in some areas, probably even 200 inches. inches. And notice Nevada, widespread swaths of multiple feet of snow into the Wasatch right there in the Colorado Rockies, northern Arizona, even northern New Mexico, also picking up quite a bit of that snowfall. So this is going to be, again, nothing short of incredible for you guys. And again, it's not necessarily the particular storm that I'm too worried about. It's just the overall pattern for you guys across the West. As we shift into areas like the north central United States, however, it becomes more clear that, the western United States pattern is secluded towards the west, and we don't see such crazy activity across the north central United States. But again, one of those systems, the one that's going to be coming in tomorrow, will be sneaking in through the mountains and erupting into a pretty vicious winter storm as we push into Wednesday and Thursday. So notice the models are still in relative disagreement. There has been a general northern trend with this system for the last time I recorded this video. You do note that into the day on Wednesday and into especially Thursday, we see this really quickly intensify, but also start phasing with the kind of a blast of cool air from the north. How this exactly, unfolds, whether or not it will be stronger, weaker, the exact track determines a lot about the snow swath and rain swath of this. Notice there will be most likely rain in Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, but you can see that the latest GFS model run keeps a lot of the snow out of Wisconsin, say Iowa, Illinois, and keeps it more into Michigan, right? You can see some pretty heavy, severe weather even potentially going on further south, heavy rain across Kentucky and whatnot, and this thing quickly intensifies, 989 millibars. You can see very heavy snow across Detroit and areas around as it moves into southeastern Canada. Behind this, into Thursday, Friday, Saturday, quite a bit of chilly air, especially east of, I would say, the border of Minnesota, North Dakota, and South Dakota, Iowa, into east of Missouri. Areas west also will get a little bit of cool air. It will abandon those areas quite a bit quicker. But even further east, by next Sunday, it will also be pretty warm. So, and again, the air won't be too viciously cold. But this is just one model run, the GFS, its most latest one. Looking back at the noon model run, you can see it was more northern, right? So it was kind of interesting how all of yesterday was shifting towards the north, and now it's starting to shift further back towards maybe the southern United States. This was today's morning model run. You can see across Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan, right? So this one was the one today across the evening, and you can see it's already much further south. So there's still a little bit of differences here, to say the least. Canadian, the one at noon, you can see was a little bit further north, but showed more of a rain-snow mix. So again, if you live across these areas, just keep an eye on the forecast, because a lot of things are still yet to change. Notice that the European model also shows a system, obviously, and it's also had a northern trend. So it's, that's kind of unanimous amongst the models. And notice that as this rips through Indiana, Illinois, this thing is going to quickly start intensifying, and you can see that the noon model run definitely showed a system that was pretty intense and pretty strong. And again, much further towards the north than, say, the GFS is now showing. So there's still some track differences, and we'll have to keep those sorted out. For the south central United States, it's not really a threat of snowfall, but mainly of rain and severe weather. So do note, unlike the past previous systems, this thing will be bringing some rainfall into areas like Kansas and Oklahoma. Previous ones, you can see, if you remember, they were erupting, those giant cold fronts, and that severe weather kind of really mainly east of Oklahoma and Texas, just the eastern areas of those states getting impacted. But this one you can see could be, let's go back to the GFS, as I believe that one's more accurate. You can see bringing some snow into Kansas. Again, rain-snow mix as a cold air is marginal, but notice we start seeing some showers, thunderstorms across Arkansas, Texas develop, central Oklahoma, potentially southern Missouri. And this little piece could bring some snow into Kansas City. We'll have to see. You can see the previous model runs kind of alter between more northern and southern tracks with varying snowfall amounts. But do notice that this thing quickly starts exploding as it hits kind of the eastern south central here across Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Kentucky. We see some more bright colors indicating a potential severe weather threat, and behind that we do see a relative cool off. Not really below average, but cooler compared to what we've been seeing. You can see nothing too incredible. Maybe 30s, 40s further into Texas and Louisiana near the Gulf Coast, and then maybe 30s and 20s as you get into Missouri, Kansas, southern Illinois, and whatnot. So again, areas across the south central United States, the biggest concern is not the snowfall or anything like that. It's, again, maybe some heavy rain, which you can see it's not really that supportive here. But again, if we do have a little bit of thunderstorm activity, the GFS models and the global ones are really poor at predicting that. But you can see the Storm Prediction Center for Thursday has a severe weather threat across the southeast. However, I would not be surprised if we saw some of this across the south central United States here back into Arkansas and Louisiana, especially on the day Wednesday and into Thursday. Again, though, overall, not a hugely impactful system for the south central United States, especially when you're comparing it to, say, other regions. Northeast, this system will have many, many impacts for you, potentially excluding the west. This system will be bringing the most amount of impacts for you. So notice that there isn't much activity going on right now. Anything that is not really significant. You can see some snow showers across southern Canada into the northeastern United States. We do see a general warming trend, and this system, let's go back to the GFS. I don't know why I was showing the Canadian. I'll show you that in just a second. But notice again, there's that system. You can see according to the latest model, the GFS taking a track right through the central part of Lake Erie into northern Ohio. Cleveland seeing some snow. Detroit, southern Canada. Initially, a lot of the cities there in upper New England starting off as rain, maybe converting into snow depending on the track. And you can see this thing is a pretty quick mover, but it does have some pretty heavy precipitation. However, again, if you recall, some models do show a second low redeveloping. The GFS most current model does not show that. However, you can see that there are some differences even compared to the model run that came out right before this. And again, the GFS, so this isn't the European, this is the GFS, but just a few hours earlier, it showed this system further north into Michigan, into Canada. You can see it showed quite a bit of rain, and it delayed that cold front quite significantly, obviously prolonging the rainfall amounts of precipitation to be heavier, and you can see it kind of redeveloped a little low pressure there. And with the most latest model run, it doesn't do that. So there's still a lot of differences here. If you look at the total precipitation potential, it's pretty significant, especially where that low redevelops and north of that system where that snow and heavy rain could be occurring. But you can see Ohio, West Virginia, North Carolina could also be seeing some pretty heavy rainfall out of this. So again, it's a situation that we'll have to wait and see. If you take a look at a model like the European, which again is more in line with that potential coastal low developing. So again, there's that first system you can see across Ohio, Michigan. You're taking a track through southern Canada, and you can see there's a pretty powerful cold front, very heavy snowfall on the northern part of this system, but you can see that Canadian starts redeveloping a low pressure here around that lobe of cool air here, and you can see it slows down that system, and again, redevelop some snowfall on this, and you can see there's a snow stripe that develops into Pennsylvania, maybe New Jersey, even some large cities picking up some additional snowfall there. So in terms of the impacts from that, you can see the European obviously does introduce a little bit more of that rainfall, especially for the coastal areas, but even further north, just across Quebec, Ontario, there could be an inch and a half of that liquid precipitation equivalent, but obviously a lot of that would be falling as some pretty heavy snowfall. So we'll still have to wait and see. There's still some details that have to be outsorted here, but for now, that's it for the Northeast. Let's take a glance at the southeastern United States. For you guys, you can see precipitation-wise, there will be some heavy rain, obviously more isolated to the areas that see the severe weather and several thunderstorms. Again, the Storm Prediction Center for day 4 has a slight risk of severe weather already issued for Alabama and mainly Georgia. You can see those areas: Birmingham, Alabama, Montgomery, Atlanta, Columbus. So again, some pretty populated areas. You can see 10 million people living in that area, and I would not be surprised to see this get advanced to a enhanced potentially as it gets closer into this system. And again, such a system may seem pretty measly when you look at the precipitation map here, right? No, that's not too bad, but again, it has a lot of uplift from the south, strong southerly winds, and again, there's that cold air, so that those temperature contrasts never do good for severe weather, and you can see that it eventually leaves the southeast by, well, I guess it starts initially early Thursday, and it's out of here by pretty much late Friday, excluding maybe the Outer Banks and southern Florida. And so again, pretty quick moving. You can see there's a little bit of cold air behind. We see some snow maybe across the Appalachians. Not terribly cold, probably not even really that much below average, but compared to what you've been seeing, this is definitely going to feel cooler. And you can see, looking at the 2-meter temperature shaded, which I want to click there, you can see there could be some frost pretty far down toward the south, but nothing like we saw in like December around Christmas, where we had that insane cold front. And you can see it warms up pretty quickly afterwards. So yeah, for now, that's basically it, guys. I wanted to keep this video shorter. I had to, no other choice. So thank you guys so much for watching. I'll keep you guys updated. Thank you so much for watching. See ya. Bye.